Good morning. Second here. So, as we would imagine, or maybe not, those internals finally reached an extreme, and it took a while. I mean, as things had moved up, and just to review where things started and how we read these things is that one second. Um, when the breath makes a big fast move like that, historically, it suggests prices are going to go higher. Um, Because what happened is you have a broad market participation within the markets, right? The internals are showing you the underlying as to what's happening without going out there and looking at all the sectors and stocks and so on and so forth. You want to know individually which ones are outperforming or underperforming, you got to go look. Um, so, when it stays up here as this did, that's a positive. And just looking for my little dot. Hold on. It's always moving things around. Okay, here we go. Okay, so you can see where I'm talking about. When it stays like this, it's positive. And as you would imagine, a little sideways consolidation, which we refer to here as bullish price action at resistance. Sometimes we refer to it as absorbing supply. In the course, that's exactly how I explain it because it's from the point of view of understanding the mechanics of what's going on there. Supply being resistance, demand, absorbing supply requires demand. And rather than pulling back, right, like here, pulling back, correcting back, um, you know, things correct through price versus time, right here. Bullish price action through time, that was a correction bar, and so on. All of this is filled in, of course, or moved by the news that we've been victims of over which started here, right? All right. So now what we've been looking for is okay, it's up, it's at resistance, and so on. And finally, we've got sentiment finally reaching an extreme. If we've been looking at, oh, it's almost there, it's almost there. So we've got breadth and sentiment reaching an extreme. And rarely does it ever mark the high day. It's done it in the past, but it is not the norm for that to happen. Let me get rid of this. Okay. And having trouble getting things here. Get rid of these little circles. All right. Okay. So now we need price confirmation. Um, Over the past couple of weeks, um, sometimes it happens this way and sometimes it doesn't, meaning the bullish sentiment creeps up when you're looking at the open interest of puts and calls in the S&P 500 SPX. So about a week ago, it was 5,700. And that's where prices were kind of, the term is used, pinned there. It just couldn't get very far away, moving up or down. Now, and I just looked at this morning, but now it's at 6,000, which is the next whole number. And you would say, okay, that would make sense, as a target area. It's up there at that prior area. But what about the internals? Well, internals don't suggest how high prices can go. They just tell you that now you have reached a point where that risk for longs has increased. The actual turn day, when it rolls over, does it roll over? Does it go sideways at resistance? We don't know. How will we know? Well, you're going to get a range expansion bar. You're going to get a breakout failure. You're going to get possibly an M top. If it's super bullish, we may just get a sideways chop for a month. The Trump factor. Well, I think Well, I was going to say, I think Trump is kind of talked out with his surprises, but as you know, he took a stab at the European Union earlier in the week, saying they were worse than China. So who knows? There's a next on his hit list or whoever else that might be. But that is a factor for sure. Nonetheless, if we were to take a bar like this one, or if I can mark it off, say that what I call correction bar, and you would have flipped that upside down and the body would be red, that would be the kind of price action that would be in alignment with our internals telling us that there's risk increasing. Now, all of these charts have this big, humongous gap from a couple of days ago, and that would be a downside target. Now, I always say, look, when the internals reach this doesn't mean the market's going to collapse. It just means that the probability based on historical price action, breakouts are going to start failing. Um, Pullbacks like this one, like that, or that, they start failing. So that's when you start getting the evidence of what the internals are telling us. So that's known. Keep it in mind, and we shall see where this progresses. Let's take a look around. And there's been obviously lots of improvements to support whatever correction comes. It should not go all the way back down here. Something unknown would have to happen that would create such a deep retracement back down. So when we look at retracements, it's not from the point of view of Fibonacci's. It's just common sense, meaning this was in a downtrend and it was able to retrace all the way back to this resistance, which makes things neutral. And so now, what does it do at this resistance area? Chop sideways. I would think, you know, common sense kind of thought what would be reasonable that a test of the 50 MA filling this gap would be pretty normal. The prices have reached where they have, plus the internals being where they have. So we'll see how this progresses. Transports last week, I had mentioned it would be great to see these start to participate. Because if the transports participate with, seeing tech going up and the industrials going up, that increases the probability that whatever correction comes, there's going to be buyers underneath. You've had this broad market participation. Of course, this is what helps bring breadth up to an extreme and internals up to an extreme where there's more and more information that has supported this increase in sentiment. The more things that are positive, clearly, the more people are going to become positive on the markets, are going to begin to shift from being bearish to being bullish. And that's what's happening. Unless we look at the weekly charts, and most of them are still in downtrends. So we're not totally out of the woods here, but a lot of damage has been repaired, and that's a positive. There's unfilled gaps. So corrections are coming, whether it's next week. Usually historically, within 2 weeks, the market is going to be obviously in a correction mode. NASDAQ composite, broader measure of the NASDAQ, that cleared the 200. So almost everything was below the 200 and the 50 was below the 200. Now many things are above the 200 and the 50. Just one way of simply looking at what's positives. And another thing that we'll start to see in the coming days and a week or so is this uptrend. I expanded this to look further to the left at this uptrend. 65 will turn to a sideways trend. And eventually it'll break a pivot low. And so as we look at multiple time frames, And we look at the daily chart. Do we get a reversal bar? Do we get two bars going sideways? Do we get a breakout failure? The 65-minute, or if you're looking at a 60-minute, right, you'll see a topping pattern. But what happened here, right, was that we got an acceleration. Now it's flattened out. And the gap up can be considered in part that acceleration or that climactic type of move that creates the void. And we've got that unfilled gap down below. So as we look at different charts, we see similarities to the same thing, where they all have this unfilled gap. They gapped up on the news, and then they continued higher. And as of the moment, from this time frame and this time frame, we have no evidence of this stopping. But what we do know is that it's coming. And sideways on the 5-minute, as we look, and on the 15, one of the things that we look at as intraday traders is, and from gaps, and of course, do we have an end of day advance or an end of day sideways price action? And this is sideways. So how does that help us? Well, if prices are gapping up, and we've got the futures here, see they're gapping up a little bit. Russell down a little bit, but if they're gapping up, it creates a floor. Now that would be supportive that can continue to go higher. So when we see a extreme move, it's like, okay, that is gotten extreme and it's likely to retrace. Okay, fine. But what happens from there? Right? Gapping up from a base, that's become support. It should stay above it. If it breaks below it, short term, we have some bearish price action. Pretty simple stuff. But most people starting out, I know I didn't, you don't look at that way because you're learning. If it gaps down below it, oh, that was creating support. It's now resistance. You sell short into that once with a confirming pattern. If it gaps down, which is more likely when you have things just starting out where they gap down and then they blast up through that. Whereas when things are moving up and getting extreme, you get more probabilities that it gaps up and comes back down below. Right. All right, so looking around, so that's the gist of where we're at, pretty much across the board. Russell has been weaker, consolidation, unfilled gap lurking below, and you see futures here. They're up a little bit, but stalled. Coming into these cluster of overlapping bars there, that resistance. And Dow is at resistance. It's under the 200, so it's showing relative weakness. And we looked at that. S&Ps, cleared those pivots. And we move this up here. Maybe the futures can get to 6,000. Yesterday, the high volume strike was 59, and it held it there. That's one of the things to look at intraday. Gold breaking support. Certainly looks like it's headed lower. And silver was like, okay, can it clear these highs? Well, obviously that's not happening, but since it showed relative weakness to gold so far, even though it's down on the day, it's showing relative strength. Right? So just looking at the daily charts, you see that it's coming down pretty aggressively, but it's still on the support. It hasn't violated it. Crude oil at resistance, it's going to stall there, declining 50. It'll be interesting to see what this does. Sideways and up, maybe not so great for the broader markets, especially with interest rates. This is going to get attention. I'm surprised it hasn't yet. I mean, it's at 4.5%. Going back a few months, that was a big deal when it was there, but it's been chopping around for a while. As this starts to push higher, it's going to be one of the reasons why we're going to hear the market is starting to correct. Higher interest rates, inflation, tariff news, well, all that, so on and so forth. So, um, SPX. Oh, I was going to click the VIX, but you can look at it. You can see it's down near those prior lows where it's turned up from. So the more things that are in alignment, the greater the probability that you're going to get that correction. But starting a correction from where the S&P is now above the 200 and above the 50. Remember the death cross down there? We joked about that. Um, you know, it provides these areas where prices could pull back to and find support as they begin to pull back. Right, same unfilled gap up there. And where are they at? Kind of unchanged, up a little bit. SPX, nothing was touched yesterday. Again, those give you the boundaries as to where they're unlikely to go. Right? They got started to get close there. And so 5805 coming up. Even without the markets moving much, came up a considerable amount. So at least that's at a whole number. And the market not moving and these strikes are moving up. So that's, in a sense, it's another way of seeing, you know, what was the thing? Irrational exuberance, right? It's not moving, but meanwhile they're bidding up those options. So there you go. All yours, Dan.
Well, bullish 2 days there. Not many earnings. I went through them all. A lot of them were junk, penny stocks, alarms. Soon. We bought a 1/3 lot yesterday. Beautiful bottoming pattern. Wish I got in earlier yesterday, but we looked at it late. Not yesterday though. Monday. Aqua, Aqua alarm. This had earnings, and the gap down here, and I posted it on Telegram as a long watch. And shoot, it's continuing to move here. I was hoping it would open right here at yesterday's high, and then I would have done a 5, 10, 15, 30 minute high, but shoot, it's moving here. Up a buy alarm, bottoming pattern. We have naked $3 puts and long calls. We only have a third left, and I raised the target. This opening 420 would have hit our target, but for I raised it to 145. But I'll keep an eye on that to lock in. We bought calls at 35 cents, so we got a monster percent gain. Yeah, CLS we were talking about yesterday. Yeah, yeah, inverse head and shoulder. I've been grabbing a lot of charts on bottoming patterns and inverse head and shoulder. Not a clean left shoulder, but it is. It's an inverse head and shoulder. Got all the moving averages in alignment. Looks great. Closing breakout, capping up. Looks great. All right, I don't need to buy here. Let me put CLS there to see. It is a bottoming pattern, but now we get into quality. That's not a great quality one. You still got a declining 50 and you got all this junk over here. But it would be a beautiful naked $7 put. Hey, who gave me SMCI yesterday in the room? Thomas, Rocco, Robert. It's one of you guys. And I said daily, weekly, monthly. Do you remember what I said? I said this could be a home run entry on all time frames. The only thing I didn't like is it moves so much at resistance. I said it would have been a beautiful 15-minute high or 30-minute high. I think. Um, but we missed it. So what I did, and I think Polly did too, we sold the 33 and a half naked puts. So look at that, Polly. We got $13 out of the money now. I'm just gonna let it expire worthless. But that was a great, we spent like 5 minutes talking about it, and that was a great multiple time frame pattern. Uh, so that I think they got a contract, and I think that's what putting a fire on AMD too. Yeah, look at AMD. I mean, with the gap up on Monday and then continuation yesterday, it was hard to find new swing trades. But I said for continuation, um, day trades, they were all over the place. Tesla was another one, Alex bought. I wasn't comfortable with it as a swing, being up 5 bars, but I said the 15-minute chart was amazing. And now it's gapping up. I'd be selling that gap up with fire in it, or at least half. Stop under this pivot for the back half. We had naked puts on it though, and we met our target yesterday. Let's go to earnings now. I got rid of a bunch of them already. And it's a mess. It's a mess. Maybe call spread. Aqua is the one I talked about. So the bottoming pattern looks great. And we even talked about maybe buying calls on this one, but I didn't feel like paying for the 35 calls. Ground. This is the only earnings trade I did yesterday. I tried a few others, didn't get filled. I did the 35.30. So I'm still $3 out of the money. So I sold them for 80. I'm just arbitrarily bidding 15 cents. See if I can get filled. This is a breakout, gapping down, nothing. This one is a bottoming pattern. I have an alarm at 8. If it can recover and close bullish, we'll see what it does. Same with this one. I have an alarm at 36.50. See if it can recover. If not, got nothing to lose. Remember this one? A recent RPM, a recent IPO. Closing new highs. Looks like it's opening flat now. Genesis, I mean, but for it being a $2 stock, that's a quality bear 1, 2, 3 in a downtrend. But now it's gapping down. I don't mind day trading. Short cheap stocks, but that's this general rule. I don't like swinging them under $7. I'm eating. I have an alarm up here at 1770. We'll see if, because then that could just be a continuation breakout. Nothing. Delta Tangos and gapping up with no pattern. And also multiple time frames on this big run. I mean, look weeklies. That just confirms it's up a lot at resistance. So I don't like those. MMYT. That's a condor pattern. You got flat MAs, you got resistance, support. Today, MT Live, we're talking about consolidation patterns, strategies, and sideways trends. This is not, well, it's a very wide, you know, trading range. But from here to here, yeah, it's a trading range, but I don't call it a sideways trend because we only have one pivot up, one down. But on a, on an hourly, it obviously would be a bigger trading range. But yeah, that's a condor setup with those flat MAs. All right, we're selling off a little bit more here. Q's fighters. I was saying the last 2 days, it was amazing again how similar the 5-15 hourly Q's fighters looked. And now they're again, to me, looking absolutely identical on the pre-market chart. E10 alarm just went off. There you go. See, I had an alarm at 1770. So that's a breakout idea. Put that in the window. Globe. That globe was a nice bottoming pattern. Wow, now it's getting whacked. That's a big percent. Big percent on globe. But I don't have a bias now. See what it does. CLBT is garbage. TSUM. No setup. Dava getting whacked down to 18 bucks. No pattern. SFL. It's worth watching. It's a gap up. We'll see what it does. Guarantee. RSKD. It it trades weird on the 15. But if it were to take out these highs, it has a little void, but I got enough to watch here. I'm almost done with earnings here. This I said was a possible gap and crap. Lux, there's a bottoming pattern. LUXE, maybe 30-minute high. I guess I know that's all the earnings, but that's the best looking bottom. That's the best looking pattern right for earnings I've seen so far. XBI alarm. This was a call spread I gave yesterday. I did not get filled. I put my order out again. I'll tell you if I get filled, but I'll watch it also. UNH. I was watching Tank all day yesterday, but it's stabilizing. Look, it gapped up. It's going sideways. 30-minute high. Let's see what it looks like. It could be a day trade and a put spread. Reddit alarm. I said possible put spread, bottoming pattern. Still not ready yet. SMWB alarm. There you go, gap reversal. That's one of their earnings that I said if it can recover. It's slopping around though on the 15. I wouldn't touch it except for maybe 30-minute high. All right, Reddit. Let me set a new alarm higher. Pan W, low alarm. Our soon is doing great. Good thing we did a third lot yesterday. Shoot. I was trying to get us some on a pullback. But man, we got to move stop days low now. That thing's ripping. 1157 soon. A Visco up alarm, that was a bottoming pattern we were talking about last 2 days. Yeah, I saw on the news Starbucks as people are, their union has them on striking because they don't, they don't like their black uniform. So stupid things people argue about. She is ripping. So I look up Netflix, Microsoft are the two culprits. And AMD, although it's not a thing. Fiber. Remember, I got filled on those 350 puts on this little dive right there. So now I got a nice gain. I'm bidding 50 cents to close. Thomas Bill. Yeah, this one I have up and down alarms. BTU. Not crazy about that one myself. Look at Aklo ripping here. Shoot, no, just forget about it. Aklo's gone. Here, Babay. Babay ripping. Let's move stop days low now. 390. Ah, we should. I'm at the target at 145. I might have to raise it again. 390. That was a nice, great example of the pattern of the curling MAs, contraction. I actually was tempted to buy that Aklo free market, but I took my eye off it. Eaton. This growl. I didn't get filled on because of the stupid spreads. Oh, it's still holding it. Man, I got a profit, but it's holding crazy high as if they have a pending conference call or something. because that thing should have contracted a whole lot more. Yeah, yeah, 30-minute high, or I'd like it better after 3 p.m. I know it's up a lot, but it kind of grinded there, and I like the 15. So I'm not as crazy about a swing yet, unless it closes strong. But I like 15-minute high. I mean, 30-minute high for a day trade. And also we got to be more particular on directionals with the internals, red flag. Okay. I, when I say this 1,000 times, it could be the start, but I like the little curling action. Check MSOS also. I'll set an alarm 277 MSOS. So maybe is the answer, Thomas. Maybe. So we'll put it in the observation room category, whatever you want to call it. But I got alarm 277. But you know how this thing loves to disappoint. A nice CLS, Alex. So now it's extended already. All right, this Starbucks of ours is kind of whipping around a little bit. I don't, who knows why? We got a put spread. All right, UNH. Let me set an alarm at 324. Where else the other go? Soon. That was an early alarm. Oh, I have foot spreads or naked puts on the thing myself. Should I? Dude, I got a 6 lot on this. I should have been paying attention. Mm, um, 11:57. Hey, look at that Google. Just picked it up in the gear, but still range bound. No significant high and lows. Visco alarm we were talking about last 2 days, bottoming pattern, nice 15. I'm just a little questionable about the market, but 30-minute high on Visco. I don't need Aqua anymore. Oh, what was your question on Aqua? Somebody said you bought it. I'd be selling half right here. I think you were asking me what the target was. I'd say right here, $40 at this pivot. I'd be selling half and keeping a tight stop on half. Whoever asked me that. That's my answer. Hey, yeah, zero. Our Aflac doing good. No, I already have it there. Let me give a first third target. Maybe me. We have very light inventory. So we're in good shape. Not gonna get run over by anything. Me. I like the 15, Sam. So my answer to you is 30-minute high, provided the market is neutral or bullish. But you know how I like buts, just ask Debbie. But 10 a.m. is only 13 minutes away. So the odds of me saying that the market's going to be in alignment is very low. But I like the 15 30-minute high if the market were in a better mood. Got it? Got it. Got it. Got it. We took some profits on that soon. Not all, but part. Man, that's a big topping tail. Had I been paying attention, I could have got out at a much better price. But guess what? I'm busy and can't watch everything. That's why I need an assistant.
No, Sam, that's just my Gmail account has that. So I use that as a secondary login so I can have a laptop, one to my left and one to my right. So as I'm, you know, looking at my desktop system for the trading, I can see what's happening on the other one. I log in from the two places. There was no tick extreme on that blast to the downside. Now that it's broken some support, I think it's likely to stay below. If it had gotten that tick extreme, I think it would have had pluses and minuses, but it's just neutral here.
Oh, my mic was off. XBI, it still didn't get filled. Let me see what the midpoint is now for next week. I'm trying the 81.85. Midpoint is 57. And I was trying 70. I'm gonna change it to 60. And then we can add at higher prices. Yeah, let's set an alarm at 4:21:20. I get filled on it was not XP. Soon stuffing out, you bad boy. After that nice game. Shoot. An ugly topping tail. Small game. Yeah, we did the puts for next week, Bowie. Wow, there's still massive juice. Bali, I can't believe the juice is still, they're 26 cents. It's like I had to double take it. It's like there's pending earnings or something. Um, what do? You got money in the bank, and I don't like the morning action. I'm gonna take mine. Just it's not as big as I hope, but it's profit. Tea coming in. Alex ICLR still hasn't triggered, but I'm gonna set an early alarm. 136.80. Microsoft's a tank today. And it's been a tank since earnings. The Cisco crack in here, that would be a call spread, sure. Oh, earnings after the bill, forget it. Man, Netflix Looks like this is gonna turn into a bold rectangle instead of an M top. That is amazing strength. Amazon. If it were Thursday, I'd consider a call spread, but it's looking toppy. UNH still a dog, can't bounce, but over this pre-market high. I would do naked puts maybe. Let's see how jack they are. No, they're a lot less than yesterday. Yesterday, I think the 280s were $1. Now you gotta go to 297.50 to get $1. Not me. Hey, what's shaking down? I got Myrna still on my short list under these lows to buy puts. But that's not a good entry. I'm gonna cancel it. That's not a good entry under those lows now. But I'll set an alarm at 24.50. Bull, been watching. Still can't make the turn. Remember I said yesterday, ideally it makes a new low, but then we need a potent reversal bar. Let me go through these earnings. Yeah, that's the one I said, make a 30-minute high, but nah, I don't, it's not a good, it's not a good bear gap that bullies trade. Was bullish gap, but I don't like the tail. Oh, buyer stepped up. What's the low? 32. That's the gap and crap one I mentioned. Exactly what it did. Range expansion, engulfing, short-term top. Lux gap's too big, but that was a nice bottoming pattern. Bid app is one of these bit farm things, garbage. XBI, I still like call spread. Here. SMCI, took my money. Look at Lip, this was earnings the other day. I think that's a long-term bottom on the monthly. It's gonna take a while to get a daily entry. In Uber, I grabbed a screenshot of this and put it in my inverse head and shoulder file. Look at all those MAs, bottoming pattern. That was a beauty. Right there, that's 180 reversal was your no-brainer. Pelletier, everyone's making fun of their high PE ratio. Micron's coming back. It was got whacked a little more this morning. Stephens Bio, look at that igniting gap. Wow, look at that volume. Look at this. When you see volume within 30 minutes, just dwarfing everything else, that exploded. AMD, but no pattern, but nice move. Brothers, we never triggered on Monday, but that's still looks good. Elf was a gap up from a bottoming pattern that's slowly churning. Lily, hey, now it's a 1, 2, 3. I like even better. Set an alarm at 7:60. I read it. Let me see how juicy they are. For Friday, I would do the 110s. We do $5 wide, only 41 cents. Yeah, no hurry. Let's go. Fiber. So when I shorted the 350 puts on yesterday, dude, now it's against me. I did not get out because of the stupid spread. CRS still looks good. That's it. I like this XBI. Call spread. Check premium again. Yeah, yeah, agree. Yeah, it's a pseudo inverse head and shoulder. Downside shakeout at the 50, closing breakout. Yeah, I like it. Weekly, monthly look good too. Yeah, I'll put it on the list. See what it does. Well, I'll sell a put spread on it if it closes like this. I'm definitely closed.